I first heard whispers about this story a few days ago and talked about it briefly on stream, but a ton of information wasn't known about it at the time, and now a lot's happened with it since. So, in a nutshell, an anonymous user in a Minecraft Discord dropped some classified documents into the server. And it was initially written off as a bunch of fanfic nonsense, just a load of dirty barnacles, a bunch of hooey. And fast forward a little bit, and it turns out that what was shared in that Discord was legitimate classified Pentagon leaks. So it became the subject of a huge investigation because they realized there was a huge security risk because someone just leaked real Pentagon documents in a fucking Minecraft Discord. So they then began scrambling to identify the person responsible for the leaks. I have no doubt they investigated Herobrine, that dirty bastard. But ultimately, they concluded their manhunt and found the person responsible. It's a 21-year-old young man whose life has now forever changed course, all due to this leak. His name is Jack, or he goes by his online handle, Jack the Dripper, which is such a banger of a username, especially in this situation. And when they identified him, they sent the whole kit and caboodle after him. They assembled the goddamn A-team to take him in. Like, look at this shit. They spared no expense here. Probably had like fucking 15 choppers and a submarine pull-up. They got the goddamn G.I. Joe out here for him. I can't see it in the video, but I have no doubt that there's also 45 ghillie-suited soldiers laying down in the grass just in case things pop off and get a little hairy here. What's even wilder is this is considered one of the worst breaches of US national security in this century. That is incredible that it happened in a fucking Minecraft Discord from Jack the Dripper, just feeling a little drippy, so he leaked a bit. He leaked these documents which have now become one of the biggest security breaches in this country's history. There's more than 50 documents that have been fucking potato sacked onto the internet now. The ones that have attracted the most attention include details from the US military briefings on the war in Ukraine, and there's so many questions about why this happened, and according to the analysts, the possible answers range from a failure of operational procedure inside the Pentagon to someone trying to win an argument on the internet. I fully subscribe to the belief that this was all motivated by an online argument. The last 5 or 6 years have truly laid bare human nature, and the main thing we care about is winning fucking useless arguments online. There is no length people won't go to defend points, and there is nothing that they won't sacrifice for it. It's like a religion at this point, just arguing on Twitter about nonsense. Oh, you said Demon Slayer's mid? Bang. Here's some classified legitimate CIA documents about Area 51, bitch. Ratio. Demon Slayer top tier. Like, literally will do anything. It's sacred to win an argument online. So I really do feel like that was the primary catalyst for why these leaked in the first place. There's also these tweets that show screenshots from 4chan with someone using some of the information in these documents to argue. On March 4th, over a month before the Telegram and 4chan post, 10 documents were posted in a Discord server called Minecraft Earth Map. So, clearly, these were dropped and then used in arguments in order to get, like, a one-up on people. And I bet they immediately wrote that shit off as fake news, garbage, baloney, which is wild because they are legitimate Pentagon documents that are confirmed authentic. But I guarantee it was useless in the argument and it got slapped down and written off as absolute fucking horseradish. Arguing online is more important than breathing to a lot of people. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this really was why it leaked in the first place, to win arguments against people. So I agree with the tweet here. This is going to be like an iconic 4chan moment up there with like pool closed due to AIDS and shit. Pentagon leaks just to argue on the boards. I'm getting a little off topic, but I absolutely have to slide this in here and mention something that's very similar. War Thunder has actually had its fair share of controversy similar to this, where disgruntled gamers have leaked classified documents due to being upset at the in-game depiction of the tanks. So it's happened a couple of times, and they get into an argument on the forums about the way that the tanks were portrayed in there, like their stats and all of that, I believe. So in order to prove their point, they would drop the fucking manuals to the tanks, which are classified documents, I guess, in order to prove, like, hey, this is a bunch of fucking baloney. Why would they possibly represent the tank like this when it's clearly in the real world like this? Which is a crazy mic drop. Like, this is fucking stupid. You guys don't know what you're doing. Here's the manual. And why don't we actually look at the real tank and then you can get it right? Goddamn idiots. So they've done this a few times, just leaking classified documents in order to win arguments about these tanks in War Thunder, which is such a power move. That goes so crazy. Hell hath no fury like a gamer scorned. Wild stuff. But anyway, we'll get back on track with the Minecraft Pentagon leaks. Now, Jack the Dripper, or as he was also known in another community, OG, is a 21-year-old who was part of the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. They were able to kind of hone in on him pretty quickly. It was only a few days after this whole thing blew up. So they're saying there doesn't seem to be a clear motive here, and they're also unsure of exactly how many documents were leaked. So some are saying it's 50, some are saying it's all the way up to 100. And they're also saying that the amount of people that would have clearance to this is actually pretty significant. So he was posting these leaks weekly, beginning late last year, all the way up until last month. They said that a few documents were shared on Russian Telegram channels, which were crawling with journalists trying to understand what Russian groups are doing in the Ukraine and looking for original images or information from inside the war. And once that really started to catch a lot of steam, that's when it really put it on the radar here. Is like, oh, there's like a security problem, which is what prompted all of this to start being taken so seriously. The Washington Post described the Discord server as an invitation-only clubhouse with about 25 active users, where an elder-like figure known as OG lectured younger members of the group on global affairs and secretive government operations. So they actually had their own little, Illuminati table here, like something out of a fucking James Bond movie where they all get into a Minecraft Discord server for a bit just to talk about these top secret documents and go over it. Now, the war room here, where most of this played out, was in a Discord channel called Thug Shaker Central, which was populated by mainly fans of a YouTuber named Oxide. Now, Jack is a 21-year-old, and he's not even an intelligence analyst, so there's already been a lot of questions being asked about how he'd even have access to these documents in the first place. But he did have a higher level of clearance because his role was ensuring network protection. And my man here used that clearance to go absolutely hog wild on some classified documents for the Thug Shaker Central. I also just love that they're going to have to do this investigation very, very thoroughly, and the place they're going to have to keep going to is Minecraft Discords and Thug Shaker Central in order to really capture the magnitude of Jack the Dripper and his security breach. That is, that's actual fucking, fanfic levels of craziness. This is a failure of imagination as far as counterintelligence goes, but I think the absurdity of the leak is also something we need to grapple with. An understanding of these communities is not something you would expect senior folks in the US government to have been able to build a threat model around. Which sounds about right. A lot of our leaders are old fucking fossils that don't even know what an email is half the time. So I have no doubt they never once even envisioned this as a possibility, that some guy might just start shitposting classified documents. Whereas I'm surprised it's taken this long, and I bet it's actually happening more commonly than we think, and we just don't see it that much because it stays in smaller communities like Thug Shaker Central. I imagine it's not exactly the most unheard of thing in the world. It's just this is the one that really started to catch steam because it had been so long and continuing to go. Overall, just a wild situation, especially considering these weren't just useless documents that meant nothing or anything. These contained sensitive information and were very much important documents that were being shared and dropped in Minecraft Discord and then circulated elsewhere. So pretty crazy stuff all around that I had to talk about it because my God, how could you not? That's really about it. So yeah.